everyone, welcome to my kitchen today. I wanted to come on and show you guys some amazing butternut squash soup that I'm going to be making in my Deluxe cooking blender. So our blender is the only blender on the market that has a patent for jam, and it has a heating element right inside to make that jam and things like soup or sauce or heated purees as well, so if you're making homemade baby food. So my family gets a fresh food box every week, so we get lots of different produce, and a great way to use it up before we get our next box the next week is to make a soup out of it, and then it's really good for lunches and packing that away, as well as stocking the freezer if that's something you're into, so that when you're having a busy night on the run with your family, you can easily pull something out of the freezer in the morning, and then you just have to heat it up on the stove or put it in the microwave and dinner is done, okay? So this is a Pampered Chef recipe. It's a really amazing one for butternut squash soup. I'm kind of doing it a little bit different just because I don't have all the ingredients that it calls for, but we are gonna get started here. I'm just gonna move my camera a little bit this way. That way you guys can see. Okay, so I have a fairly good size butternut squash right in front of me, and I'm gonna use one of our peelers. So it comes in a set of 3. So I have these 2 little guys, and they're all different. So one's gonna do a julienne cut. This one is obviously good for peeling off the skin for things like zucchini or cucumber or carrots or even potatoes. So you're just gonna go along the side. It's gonna work super easy to get all the skin right off. The skin is quite tough, so you do want to remove it before cooking with it. And then you always want to have a garbage bowl so that you're not running back and forth to the compost bin. So I'm using my little kids prep bowl today as my little garbage bowl. So it's going to peel real easy. And there's so many things you can do with butternut squash. If you roast it, it's gonna taste even better. If I had time, I would roast it in the oven with some garlic, and it would be quite delicious. And that's same for when I make roasted tomato soup. I make sure to roast the tomatoes before I put them in here, and it just adds a better flavor. So now I'm gonna cut it into smaller pieces. And on the one part of the butternut squash, there's seeds. So I'm gonna grab my garbage bowl here, and I'm gonna use my scoop loop. So this is your go-to tool for when you're carving pumpkins and you're wanting to get seeds out, or if you are using bell peppers and you're getting the seeds. So it has little serrated teeth on it, on both sides, and it's gonna pull all the seeds really easily and make it easy to clean out. Okay, so I use this at Halloween time. I'm using it, I make stuff with peppers almost every day, so it gets used a lot. I believe it's only $8. It's a handy little tool, gadget that we have. And it all comes clean. So you can choose to use an entire butternut squash, or you can use half and freeze it. This is a great vegetable to freeze if you don't want to use it all at one time. The choice to freeze it is awesome as well. So I'm just going to cut it into some chunks here, into smaller ones. Our blade is super powerful, but as you probably know, butternut squash is quite a hard vegetable. So I'm just going to help my blender out a little bit by cutting it into smaller chunks, and I'm going to add it to the blender. So typically this butternut squash Pampered Chef recipe, it calls for dried apples and some carrots in it, but I don't have any right now. I was going to put fresh apple in it, but I had made an apple crisp on the weekend, so I'm low on that inventory as well. So we are just going to add some substitutions to it, and it's still going to be really great. So roasted root vegetables If you are pairing this with sweet potato or beets and you're roasting them for Easter dinner, this is going to be delicious. So I don't know if I'm going to use this entire butternut squash, because I think I'll save this little half here for Easter, so that when I do my roasted root vegetables, I can use that butternut squash, okay? So then we're gonna add half an onion. So I think it calls for probably just a yellow or white onion, but I had this in my fridge from making dinner on the weekend, so I'm just gonna use that up. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of spinach as well to get some healthy greens in there. Okay, and then I have lots of zucchini in my fridge. It's starting to go a little bad, so I'm just gonna cut off the ends. I'm not even gonna peel it. I'm just gonna cut it into little chunks and add that to my blender pitcher. So at this point, it's really important. You want to add lots of, at least some liquid into it, whether that be water or any type of broth. So this recipe, if you go search my website, it is gonna call for water, but if you want to use broth, add a little extra flavor, that is totally up to you. So I'm gonna add 2.5 cups of chicken broth here. So I'm just using my little measuring cup. And add it to the pitcher. And then I'm just gonna add another 1/2 cup. And there we go. Okay, next step is to add some seasonings and some garlic as well. So if you're not a garlic fan, you don't have to add that much to it. It's totally up to you. I love garlic, so I'm gonna add about 3 cloves right to the blender. So I have the peel still on here. I'm not using my garlic press because there's no point, as this is all gonna be blended up. So to get the peel off, I'm gonna use my garlic peel. I'm gonna put it on this cutting board here, roll it back and forth, hear that crunch. It's gonna take off the peel for me. So it's gonna come out nice and clean. I might just have to peel off the little end, and then I can put it right in. And this is made out of silicone, so it washes up nicely as well. Okay, put that in. And then the peels can just go right in my garbage bin. We'll do one more. Peel comes off nice and easy, and the peels can go right in the garbage. So the seasoning for this soup, typically, so there's dried apple in it, so a really good pairing would be cinnamon. So I'm just going to add like the slightest dash to give it that little flavor. And I'm not gonna measure really anything. Measurements come on the recipe. My favorite all-time Pampered Chef seasoning, and I use it in everything, is our garlic and herb. So if you're looking for a nice basic rubber seasoning to add to vegetables, side dishes, meat, check this one out. You won't be disappointed. It's so good. Next, I'm going to add just a touch of ginger. I'm gonna add some celery salt. I really like the flavor of celery salt. Just a little bit. And then we're gonna add some pepper. And some salt. So these are our salt and pepper shakers, okay? And you can purchase the Himalayan salt to fill, as well as the whole peppercorns as well. So this is all good to go. I'm gonna put the lid on. So this will cook and blend at the same time for half an hour. Once the half an hour is up, you can make add-ins. So if you want to add Parmesan cheese, if you want to add some whipping cream to it to make it more of a creamy soup, which is I'm gonna do because I have whipping cream in my fridge that needs to be used up, so this is a perfect way to add it. And then when it's done cooking, when you do the add-ins, you just hit the pulse button for about 10 seconds. It's gonna incorporate the extra add-ins if you're adding basil, the cream, cheese, and it's gonna be really awesome. So it's gonna start here now. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions, please let me know.